Well, today is Black Friday for most of you, and for Colin, it's Tips Day, and this is not one of them. But along the way, some of the affiliates that I deal with have got some amazing Black Friday deals on the way. I'll mention some of those as we go along, but here's some really good tips that I know you'll get some use out of. What I'm showing you here is something fairly new, at least fairly new to me, something called adventure tape, and I'm not getting paid for this. This is just something that somebody else showed me, and I thought this is such a cool product. What it is it's like a rubberized tape. There's no stickiness to it. It's like a really thin bicycle tube, but what's really neat with it is it sticks to itself, and if it gets a little bit dusty like you can in the workshop, you just wash it off and reuse it. And it comes, I actually got 3 rolls of it. I got the 1 3/4. I also got the 3/4, and there's a 3/16 here. And you can cut it with scissors if you want to make it smaller. And what I wanted to use it for, it's perfect for this kind of thing. When you take it and wrap it around, for example, when I'm doing box making, it's hard sometimes with small objects. How do you glue them together? You know, sometimes you can use elastic bands if you've got the right size, but with this stuff, you just wrap it around a little bit tight, overlap it on itself. It's nice if you can do a couple of wraps, and then you pull that tight like that, and then you take it on the back side here, and I'm going to take it, and usually on something this small, I'll do just a couple of wraps around, nothing fancy, just like that, and that will hold tight on there and pull that all together until you want to release it, and then the next day or whenever it is you release it, it's ready to go. So it's always reusable, and what's nice with this, it doesn't leave a sticky residue on things. Just a neat thing to do, and especially if you're doing odd shaped things like this, how do you clamp those together? Well, you can do the same thing. You could use this adventure tape, give it a couple of wraps here and there. I should use a little bit longer piece here, but you'll get the idea anyway. So you can put that all together and then give it a couple of wraps like that, and that's going to hold that until you want to release it, and it's all done. So something you may want to look at. I'll put a link. It's a British company, so all of you people that are in the UK, you'll be able to get this pretty easy, and you probably already know about it, but here in North America, this is kind of a new product. So anyway, something for you to have a look at. So I use dowels a lot for a variety of things, and often when I'm using them, I have to cut them flush. And if you've been in woodworking for a while, you've probably seen this tip, where you take an old playing card, and then you can double side tape it to the bottom of your saw, and then underneath that it elevates the saw a little bit, so you cut a little bit higher than the wood, and then you cut it down. But no. I don't know about you. I never have a spare deck of cards in my workshop. In woodworking, we use veneers, very thin veneers, and if you don't have veneers, you should have some veneers in your workshop because they come in handy for so many things. And for this, all you need to do then is put a veneer there. You don't need to tape it to anything, and just trim that like that carefully all the way down, and you will take that little dowel off just nicely above the wood that you inserted it on. Just like that. Now you can see that that is proud of that wood, and that's exactly what we want. Now typically I might use a plane to do that, but most of the time I will actually use a chisel, and I have a very sharp set of chisels. I've had these for years and years, and people often ask me, what's a good chisel to get? A nice sharp chisel, and one of the ones that I really like, and they've got very high ratings, are the Narex chisels, and they're Czechoslovakian made. Really good chisels. These are an old set that I've had for years and years, and you know what? I only have 3 of them. You don't need a ton of chisels. I have 3/4, a 1 inch, and I think that's a 1/2 inch. You could use a 1/4 as well, and you will get a lifetime of good use out of a good set of chisels. I'll leave a link for you In the description box, you'll be able to go and have a look where you can get a good deal this weekend on some Narex chisels. Okay, this segment has got lots of things going on with it, and all having to do with drilling and drill bits and so on. So, first of all, in a case like this, I've just got a scrap piece of copper pipe here, and this is just a demonstration of a few things. So first of all, maybe you have a finished piece of wood here and you don't want to mark it, but you need to put a hole for this, because this is going to be a pivot point for something, let's say, and you're not going to drill all the way through, it's just going to go part way through, but somewhere you need to measure that. But either you can't mark or you don't want to mark the top of your wood. So here's one thing you can do. You can get something like just this ordinary transparent tape. You can see it's sort of it's not super glossy on top. You can put that down right on top of your surface, and look at this. You can actually mark with a pencil on it. See that? That can be your mark to put your drill bit in. Now that's one way. The other thing is, what I have is this ordinary yellow masking tape. I like the 3M brand. Always have used this, and this roll I've had for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and I've only used about half of it. And I like it because it sticks well. It's a brand name. Some of the off-brand names don't stick as well. So now with yellow masking tape, now I can take, and same thing as with the transparent tape, I can take that and mark a point like that, measure that, and take that over to the drill press and drill that. Now, when you're at the drill press, or maybe you're doing it by hand, and if you've got, for example, twist bits, you know, they tend to want to skate around on top. So there's a couple things we can do. You can put a hole, just a small hole in, and that's the other thing. If you look at this, you think that looks like an old screwdriver. Well, it was an old screwdriver, and I actually happened to snap that off. I was using it as a pry bar, which you don't want to do. But I ended up sharpening up the end of it. Now I have a scribe or a punch, because this is all hardened steel. But look, you can buy these screwdrivers at garage sales and swap meets for 50 cents or $1 or 3 for $1. They're really cheap. And you know what? You can take these and just cut whatever the end of them off and sharpen the tip. I always have one of these right next to my drill press, because I never know when I'm going to need to make a hole in something. So there's a good use for there's thousands of old screwdrivers around, and you know, it only takes 1 or 2 of them and they'll last you forever doing that. The other thing is to use a brad point, a sharp, see the point on that? And one of the reasons I bring this up is Taylor Tools right now has these on sale, 75% off. If you're looking for sharp tipped, brad point tipped bits, super deal going on right now. And of course that stops, that's the other thing that stops this skating around, is when you can poke in with that, especially if you're doing that by hand. Now let's go over to the drill press, because I want to show you how you lock this in. So when you drill this in and you don't want this pipe to spin around or come out, how do you lock that in? Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to mount this piece of pipe in here like this, but we don't want it to come loose, so we're going to want to put a locking screw or bolt or something through here, typically a screw. And so we need to mark that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find where the center of this is, and I do that by moving the fence around. If you watched my video last week, you know that I have a affiliation with MagSwitch. These are on sale right now, super sale on all sorts of mag tool devices, and if you want to see that, go to my video from last week. And I'm just going to line that up. It doesn't need to be critical. We're just doing a demo here. Now, where this is more critical is if you've got sort of bigger pieces of wood, this might be more applicable. This would be an easy one for the demo that I'm showing you. But what I'm going to do, we're just going to drill a hole in that, but then we're going to want to lock that in. So what's the best way of doing that? So first of all, let's drill a hole. and we'll check to make sure that that pipe goes in there, and it does. So now we want to drill a hole. Now this one's easy because it's such a wide pipe, but maybe there's a threaded rod or something that you're wanting to put on there, which is going to be a little bit harder to find the center for. So the way you do that without moving anything on your drill press, what we do is change bits, just like that. And we haven't changed the fence. And now, watch this. Because we've got a fence on there, we've already got it marked. We haven't changed anything. And now, and that drill, that hole is drilled right in the center of that hole, because this hole was centered, so that hole is centered. So now, when I put the pipe in, like that, and I want to drill holes or put a bolt through or a screw through, right there is going to be right centered on that brass pipe there, that copper pipe. Well, that concludes my video for today. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do that. Each of the videos that I make has an article on Woodwork Web, and the link for that is in the description box below. So you'll be able to see the details of a lot of the things that I talked about. And I also put a video on a link to one video on the end of each of the videos that I make, and that will be showing up here. This is a video that I made some time ago, but a very popular one. If you haven't seen it, you might want to go and have a quick look at that. I'm Colin Canet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.